everyone, and welcome to the Lizard Brains podcast. I'm your host, DJ Alessandrini. I'm joined by my co-host, Tom O'Gorman. Tom, how's it going?
I'm good. Yes, you are DJ Alessandrini. Yes, I am Tom O'Gorman.
Yes. Damn.
And welcome to the Lizard Brains podcast. I don't know why I felt like doing that.
That feels good. I like that.
It's going to be a good episode. Hell yeah.
I like that. I'm liking that energy, Tom. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Is that what you feel when I introduce you every time?
A little bit.
Oh, because I'm feeling good right now. That feels yeah.
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing really good. I'm about to go on vacation. Going to National Park with Christine. We're gonna go. I always forget the name of the hike. Old Rag, which is supposed to be like a really, really tough hike. And I've ran a couple times, and I've done some like pull-ups and stuff. I think I'm ready. I don't think that actually makes me ready, but
hiking?
It's not. I mean, you never know when I might have to like start walking on my hands because my feet are dead or something. It's not. I'm probably not ready. Christine's gonna get another video of me saying that she's in better shape than me. Dude, this last weekend, Christine went on a backpacking trip. First of all, everyone at the Toledo Pro Solo that interacted with me in any capacity knew that, Todd knows in the chat, knew that I was a nervous wreck the whole time because she's hiking in the woods with bears all by herself the whole time. And I'm just getting these like little Garmin updates that like, hey, I'm checking in. And every single time she checked in, it would be like, whoo, she's not bear poop, right? Like, oh, thank goodness. That was my whole weekend. Christine backpacked. She was going to do 4 days, but I think by the time she got to the end of the third day, she was just like, screw it. I'm just going to go straight to the car. So on that last day, after spending 2 nights in the woods, she hiked 14 miles to get to the car because she was kind of over it and she wanted to get out of the woods. But over the course of the weekend, she hiked to 30 miles and slept in a tent, and she was out there all by herself with nothing but a air horn to ward off any predators or anything. So,
dang, this is in Northern Ohio somewhere?
No, she was in the middle of Pennsylvania somewhere. Like if you look at it on a map, Old Loggers Trail is where she was. So if you look at it on a map, you will see nothing except trees forever.
Yeah, that's getting into banjo territory too. You could hear bears or banjos.
Yep.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this a lot at the Toledo Pro Solo this weekend, but like would you rather be in a room with a man or a bear like situation came up a lot, and the obvious statistical answer is probably another human, but that's not what people answer. They'd be like, I'd rather be in a room with a bear.
Yeah, I don't want to pick.
Yeah.
I'll take the person. Come on. You don't actually want to be in a room with a bear. That'd be so scary.
I like how Christine's participating in the chat, but she's literally right there. She's right over there.
Yeah. Christine, if you can hear us, yell, it was fun.
She's laughing right now.
How was Toledo?
It was good. It was, kind of. Like, I ended up winning, which is cool. And the car was driving way better at the end of the event. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate that. But man, that first session, it drove nothing like it did at Lincoln, where it wasn't behaving well. But like on day 2 of Lincoln, if you recall back to the episode, I got it like driving somewhat okay, where I was like, okay, like it drove like a car. Dude, it was the worst it ever was on that morning session. And then I just kept lowering the rear ride height all weekend. It just kept getting better and better and better every single time I lowered the rear ride height. So, you know what? I think Eric Catill's onto something here, Tom. We're just going full tubs, full slammed, and that's how we're going to run it. And it obviously it just gets better the lower it is.
Huh. What, was it fresh tires or anything? Literally just the same as it was in Lincoln.
I mean, at this point, our tires probably have like 150 runs on them. But they're not feeling like maybe obviously getting some kind of data point of like we throw some new tires on there and see how the car feels. Like who knows? We might have the most amazing car in the world right now. But we're on 150 run tires. But like they still have tread, and they're not doing that like worn tire behavior where like you can get it to do the right thing, but the windows are like really tiny. This was just a bad behaving car. You couldn't even load the tire. I'll have to share you some of my morning runs, but like the car just, it wanted to be backwards, probably more than any car I've ever driven. And it kind of sounds like you were kind of dealing with the same at Midwest with the car wanting to be backwards.
Yeah, of all the things I've done in the last couple of years, this was like the most I've ever worked on setup changes constantly, trying to like dial a car in.
I heard you guys went to Home Depot and put a gurney flap on the wing.
Yeah. Do you want to go? Do you want to go into it?
Yeah, let's
I can go through the whole process. So I was driving. It's a Corvette ZR1, not the X. So the rear wheel drive one, just over 1,000 horsepower, 4,200 pounds with me in it. It's basically stock, except recently it went to winning formula and got double adjustable Öhlins on it. It had a rear sway bar. I don't believe it had a different front sway bar. It had different front wheels, but stock rear wheels. The fronts were on 19s and had increased the front width on the tires from 275 to 305, and then was downsized from 355 to 345 in the back. So that's the car we were dealing with.
Okay, hold on. So I'm also in conversations with ZR1 owners, and from what I understand is the diameter from the front to the rear can't be that different from what OEM is, because then the ABS will freak out and no GM engineer actually understands what would happen. So they like highly recommend staying away from that. So with you said you had a 305 on the front?
Yeah, but I forget the sidewall series. It was a 305 19 and then a 345 21.
I mean, Vautour can't make that many different 305 sizes, so I'm sure we could just look it up later. But I wonder if it was similar. Let me ask you this, just so I can come back to it later. Were you having any weird ABS issues?
No, I wouldn't say so.
Okay. Well, hopefully it's not what OEM is, and that means that ZR1 owners everywhere aren't stuck to running just like the same diameter tire forever.
Right. This came up with the NSX as well. It comes up with the Porsche for one lap every year. Most of the modern cars have a certain overall diameter that you have to stay within the window relative front to rear.
Yep.
So like you can't just make the rear way lower with overall diameter or vice versa, in theory. And all cars are different. I remember with the NSX, there was a certain window that they advised me to stay out of when I was picking tires for King of the Mountain and that kind of thing. So
yeah,
they're definitely going to be, it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
The options for that kind of thing as we go forward into the world. But okay, so that's the car. And we did practice on Thursday, and then competition Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We got 7 timed sessions with single fastest lap, putting the top 5 into the shootout. And then at the end of the weekend was a 5-car, the top 5 shootout. Everyone gets 3 laps. They're on the track at the same time. And it's the winner of that session, the single fastest lap from that session, that wins the weekend. So I drove the car on Friday at like 6 p.m. It was starting to get cooler. It was notoriously already, the track felt horrible to everybody as I'm driving in. I'm like getting the messages and group chats like, oh, the car feels like shit. Oh, the track feels like garbage.
Talking about the ZR1 or just like in general, like just from other competitors?
In general.
Okay.
Yeah, from people who are already there doing the whole test day. I didn't get up there till like 5, so I did the 6 o'clock session. And I did, the first thing I learned is there's an additional race or additional electronics mode, I guess, on the ZR1 called Pro mode.
Yeah, so we went off of Randy Pope's suggestion and GM's suggestion and ran in race 2, which had like minimal nannies on. I never tried quote unquote pro mode, just because I was told we would die.
I didn't know there was a pro mode when I drove Dave Marcus's, the same one you drove.
Yeah.
He just put me in race 2, and I actually found it to be relatively non-invasive when I was on the 300 treadwear tires. But Dallas showed me the pro mode, which theoretically turns everything off, stability and traction. And I tried race 2 on my first lap, and with the stability on, stability I think is off, and traction control is on for the minimal amount in race 2.
Yeah.
So it was interfering constantly. It was just like holding me back in a way that I was not enjoying at all. I can only assume because the tires were better. So maybe the potential was higher and the car didn't understand that, you know?
Yeah, interesting. I drove Dave Marcus's on VTORs. Granted, they were very worn VTORs. And I didn't notice race 2 interjecting all that much. I wonder if it had, so Dallas's car doesn't have like the same track package that Dave Marcus's has. And I know that GM goes like nuts with like different calibrations on different like minor trim changes on the car. So I wonder if that had something to do with it. Did you notice in like the quote unquote pro mode? I can't just call it pro mode. I'm sorry, Tom.
It's stupid. I know. Off mode.
Did you notice that like where it won't give you full torque if the wheels turned still? No. So nope. You could just light them up if you wanted to.
Yeah, so I did my very first lap in race 2. Then I did my second lap with it off, and I liked it with it off much better. So then I kind of did a little cool down. I did my next lap, so the 4th lap of the day, of the weekend, and that was a 31.4. That number will sound familiar by the end.
Okay.
Then I did a couple sectoring here and there just to kind of keep the tires underneath the car, but practice a couple different sectors. And I did like 8 laps total with 3 full laps and then 5-ish sectored laps.
Yep.
Then the tires were brand new as of the previous session where Dallas had scrubbed them. So that was ideally probably the best session that they had, but we only had 1 set for the weekend. And the car definitely felt a little bit loose, but it didn't really stand out to me like how loose it was right away, because it was very drivable. But it was doing this thing where it was basically just a little bit sideways up. It was completely composed up to the apex, and through the apex, the back end would want to start to walk around. And you were just waiting and managing the car to not over-rotate the rear through the apex, past the apex, so that you could actually get to the power after you actually got to the acceleration zone.
So you were
but
feeling
you couldn't
like,
start to feed throttle and power out of the corner through the apex like a normal car. You were really like managing the car quite a bit through that phase.
So like, I mean, could you have adjusted how much you squared up the corner, or did it feel like you were losing too much time if you squared it up that much to actually get like a straighter shot off of it?
Right. So here goes the pursuit. Is I immediately talked to Andy, and because Andy's there and he's got his base C8 on similar suspension.
It's
and
not
then
the same?
Aaron from Winning Formula did the car. And basically what I learned is he did his Z06, what they've kind of determined is the Z06 package as far as spring rates go for the shocks and whatever on this car. And he said, I'm not surprised that it's a little bit loose. The spring rates for an additional 300 horsepower, whatever it is, probably too stiff. So here's some things to try. I just wanted to kind of like expedite the process because we were jumping right into competition.
Yeah.
Dallas and I sharing the car meant I only got 3 sessions. He only got 3 sessions plus then the shootout. So I'm like, let me just talk to the people who might already know the tools to work with.
Yeah.
So Aaron recommended some shock changes based on what I described. It was basically, compression and rebound. Compression up in the front, rebound down in the front, compression down in the back, rebound up in the back. Just like try to stabilize the car. And then he says after that, rake, look at the rake. You can maybe drop the rear a bit. And we do that we do the shocks only. I'm getting too many details. Anyway, we do the shocks for session 1, and I do a 131.1. 131.3. So I just repeated the same lap time, basically.
Tom, I love the details. You should just dive right into them because, being Carlton McCarr guy, I'm loving it. It's the best. I mean, that's what I tune in for. You guys talking about driving and fun and being a human. Boring. I'm here for the car tidbits.
All right. Well, good thing Carlton McCarr guy's not the host. All right. Continue, Tom.
Yeah, I'm here for you, Carlton. So I do the exact same lap time. The car feels very similar. And we ran it like in the 9 o'clock hour some point after the sun had been out for like a couple hours.
Yeah.
Track felt no better. Like we were kind of cautiously optimistic that it would just be like much better in the morning. And it just wasn't. So then we decided to do the rake to try to tame the car. And then I had this idea because on one lap in 2024, the year that I skipped, Salil and Chris in the GT4 RS did this trick after Chris almost spun on the oval at Gateway to put a little like metal wicker and create a gurney flap on the back of the factory spoiler wing thing. And it worked great. So that clicks in my head like, oh, maybe we could do that. So we do both of those things. We found this like wood it's like kind of thick wood in like a right angle shape.
Okay.
And they broke into 3 pieces and they taped it on each different surface of the wing.
Yep.
Next session I go out is the following day, I think. Must have been because he did the other 2 that day. So I literally do my like 3 laps, and then we talk about the car, we make some changes, and then I don't drive it again that day. Kind of weird. But then the next day, it's definitely completely different. It's now not rotating through the apex. In fact, it's slightly understeering. And all it does is mean that I have to like wait for the car through the apex rather than have the back end swinging out right after the apex. Does that make sense? So I just moved to the place. We changed the drivability. We moved the place where the car was needed patience. And I did a 31-3. Exact same time yet again.
So hold on. So did you put the gurney flap and drop the rake, or did you drop the rake and it didn't change anything and then you put the gurney flap and then it got pushy? Because I would expect the rake to be the bigger change, and then the gurney flap, like the Home Depot gurney flap, would have just changed the balance through like 7, 8, 9, and not really anywhere else. But like what just maybe you said something and then I just spaced out, but like what, can you clear that up?
Yeah, the car felt totally different with getting power down. Like it was not rotating to the point where you get power down in the phase of the corner.
Was that
like
just
that very early exit stage of that's when it wanted to be sideways. Now it wasn't doing that, but it was a little bit pushy just prior to that. Okay, and then to answer your question, the wicker, it did make it better in 5 and 9. The car was definitely more stable in 5 and 9.
Okay.
It was basically slower in the slow corners and faster in the fast corners.
Yep.
Roughly. But it was within like hundredths moving that little drivability window up and down through the corner. And we settled on putting the rake back up to try to like offset that bit of push.
Okay.
But we left the rear bar disconnected. Did I say that part?
No, you didn't. But now we know the rear bar got disconnected at some point. Man, you guys were throwing everything at this thing.
Yeah. So we did the rear bar off, the wicker on, and then the ride height back up to try to like meet it somewhere in the middle.
This is kind of,
and that's where we left it. We agreed like the drivability is the best it's been, and it's still like printing the same lap time. And I cannot figure out. It was one of these weekends that now, I'm kind of glad that I've had these experiences before, and I wanted to share this because it was one of those weekends where we hit the potential early, and no matter how many chances we got, I think we would have just continued to run the exact same time because that's what the machine could do in this state. And it's really hard to come to that conclusion because it sounds like a cop-out. It's happened to me before, and it feels really bad because you're like,
that's what I got.
The reality is, it's not that every single lap is the lap and like they're all the same. It's that every single lap has the same number of small little mistakes and small little errors or small little like random roulette rolls of the die almost, where you just like, maybe the car worked a little bit better, maybe the car worked a little bit worse, but it's outside the window of what I feel most humans, if not any human, can actually like get to.
Yeah.
So what that means is you're chasing the last 10th, maybe 2/10.
Maybe 2/10, yeah.
And it's gone in a different corner in every spot. And you're thinking, if I could just get it perfect, if I could just get that,
and maybe
if I just don't have that happen.
Maybe with enough tries, you would. Like if this was sim racing, eventually you would string that lap together, right?
Right, in theory, right?
Yeah.
So, but then I'm going through data, which this car actually, it effectively has a Garmin Catalyst in the dashboard,
which is kind of cool. Yeah.
So the PDR mode on this car, now you can like scrub through speed traces and you can see the speed delta differences between over the lap time, and you can compare the videos side by side. So I'm like looking through that stuff. I'm like genuinely trying to figure out if there's something on the table that's reasonable for me to beat myself up over not getting.
Yeah.
And I don't believe there was. Other than, like I said, the roulette or the number of chances that it took to get good enough. But I feel like I was doing, it's like if anybody else could go do a better job, go for it. But I feel like I'm doing the thing.
Yeah.
I'm like making this car go really freaking fast, but I cannot get it to go any faster now because we're just like, even with all the drivability changes and all the different approaches to your question way before, I did try to like square up the exits a little bit more or delay the exits, like maybe come in a little bit deeper and then like point the car and then try to shoot it early.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I just like,
it was just the same time.
Same thing. And you could see on the predictive thing, it's like you're moving up and down the same kind of like.
Yeah. You know,
0.12 to 0.15, and you're just chasing that little window.
Gingerman kind of does that. I think that's like a Gingerman thing, because like all these corners, they're weird. Like I remember this when I was co-driving with Paul Darling there, and he would get me. I can't remember if I would get him on entries or he would get me on entries, but it would be like one of us would always get entry and another one would always get exit, and it would equal out by the time you got to the next deacceleration spot. It would equal the same. And we were just, the only place I was beating Paul Darling was in the last corner because, like, quote unquote, I was more willing to die. Like, that's the only reason I got him, is the last corner. And then everywhere else, it was like a tie, right? So,
yeah.
That might be a Gingerman thing, because there's a lot of, like, the give and take there seems to have, like, a larger window than most other places for whatever reason. And it might just be, like, all the straightaways are kind of the same length except the back straight. So like the give and take kind of ends up playing the same over and over and over again.
Yep. I agree with that. It took me forever to really like find my way at Gingerman. I did not like that place for years.
Like
until it really started to click,
Fourth weekend there, it was like, oh, I get it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I do agree with that. And there's also just the reality, like, the changing conditions all the time. We were on the same set of tires all weekend, so I don't know if those were degrading or not. I have no history or knowledge of whether or not those tires stay the same, get worse.
Yeah.
Tires usually get worse, so I'm assuming they weren't getting better.
Yeah,
and dust and conditions and all this stuff. Literally the very first session in competition, we get out and the apex of 10 is already a half a car width covered in dirt. And turn 2 already has like little puffs of dirt whiffed onto it. So you're like already dodging sand traps and stuff.
Yeah, well, and then drifters and all that stuff. All right, before you get into how the weekend ended, do you want to hear how I almost threw away the Toledo Pro Solo, Tom?
Sure.
Me and Peter are just dorking around in paddock, chit-chatting, whatever. We're just hanging out. Peter looks at his phone. He looks at me. He goes, we just got the 2-minute call. It's Sunday, by the way. We just got the 2-minute call. We're in paddock. We're not even close to like the grid. So I'm like, get in the car. And I jump on my scooter and I freaking race there. I ghost ride the scooter into a pile of scooters. If I damage anybody's scooter, I am terribly sorry. Please reach out to me, because I just like freaking sent it in there. And then I sprinted.
Like a shopping cart corral.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I expected the scooter to fall, but then it just kind of kept going. So yeah. I was like, wow, I was like actually like running like away from it. I'm like, wow, it's like still up. Oh, and it careened into all those scooters. Ooh, I look like an asshole right now. Anyways, so then I run and stand in front of the line, because I was P1 going into that session, the Sunday session. So I'm standing on the front row. They literally sent the cars, and they can't move because I'm standing in front of the car. And then Peter pulls up. We throw everything out of the car. I throw like my race shoes halfway on, throw my helmet on. I'm literally like rolling away, like throwing my helmet on. The strap, because I just put my helmet on, like just poof, the strap was like up like by my eye, like on my like forehead and stuff.
Oh my God.
I get scanned. As I'm pulling up to the line, Tom, I noticed that my oil temp's only 140. And on the twins, if your oil temp isn't high enough, it restricts your rev limiter. So I'm sitting there going, wang, yang, 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 just revving the piss out of the car to try to get the oil temps up. Ken Roller pulls up. I don't pull up. I'm like, I can skip one car before anybody asks any questions. But if I skip it, like if I pull up with him, then I'm going to hit rev limiter and I lose a run. So I'm just sitting there on the rev limiter, just like staring at the oil temps. It finally gets to like 165 or whatever, and the other car's pulling up. And I'm like, I can't miss 2 cars. Like somebody's going to say something. So I go up. My race shoes aren't even on, Tom. They're not tied, nothing. They're just like dangling on my feet. And if you guys know race shoes, like if you don't tie them or like do the Velcro strap, they're like basically not on your feet. Like it's not like a regular shoe where it's like mostly on your foot and the tying is like the last like 10%. They're like 40% on your feet. So my run that I sat on the left side to win the thing was that run with the helmet strap like next to my eye. I was trying to shove it away. The car not fully up to temp, my shoes barely on. That was my left side run. Oh, the seat was all messed up, so I wasn't even sitting quite where I wanted to sit.
What the hell were y'all doing?
Dude, I don't know. It was a
mess. I'm like 99.8% sure you're not allowed to just skip a run at a Pro Solo. Like not go when you're supposed to, but you got away with it.
You know what? I just I was confused. I thought that was a DST car.
Right.
Yeah.
See, that's some strategic cheating, or not cheating. What is that? Racing the rules in a way.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't actually know what the rules are, but I know if I took that first run, then it like I was like that run would have just been thrown away. So that's why I had to wait till the oil temp came up.
Jesus. Well, I'm glad you didn't do that.
So, so then by the second run, I at least had my left shoe on, and I fixed the helmet strap because it was like kind of like crowding my right eye. And then I messed up that run. My heart was going, and so like I'm trying to breathe and like calm myself down, because like Tom, I scootered so fast to get over there. You have no idea. And then the last run, I'm going into it, and I know I'm down. By now, I have the seat situated. I got my helmet on fully. My shoes are both on. And I knew I was down a couple tenths as I like went out and did that last run. And I'm really proud of how I executed that run. Like it was, there was like a little bit of time here and there, but for the most part, that was the run I was like chasing the whole weekend. And I felt good about like under the stupid circumstances that we threw ourselves in. I was pretty pumped that like that run came out. But yeah, that's how I almost threw it away. And if I did inadvertently cheat by not rolling forward on that first one, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, Tamara was saying that I can use an emotional timeout. So like if I came up, and then like the car, like because eventually the car was there, and I just go like I need an emotional timeout. Then we could have had time for the car to warm up and whatever, and I could have just played it like that. But instead, like in the chaos, you just like run out there and you're just like, the cars are moving. But yeah, everyone have a radio and have it on the broadcast and pay attention. You know why it moved so much quicker than it normally did? A bunch of people left because it was supposed to rain on Sunday. So like the heat went like super, super fast.
That's weird.
Yeah.
All that effort to go to a national level event, you leave because it might rain. If you did that, I'm embarrassed for you. I don't know any specifics if we did that, but that's embarrassing.
I don't know, dude. It was like whole classes like didn't show up for like the second day. It was weird.
Jesus. Damn, I miss Pro Solo. I gotta do one soon.
It was pretty fun. You know, I think Pro Solos are the best testing tunes because you can like change stuff, and then you run like the same course against the same people, and like you can judge how you use everyone else's times to judge like how it went.
It does seem like the toony type people do better at Pro Solo than normal solo, meaning the people who want to turn knobs and the people who want to make changes and kind of like maybe a little slower grower because they like to like think about both things at once instead of just like
make it work.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I've noticed there are different people that perform higher at Pro Solo.
Yeah.
And I think it's rooted in that in a way.
I also think the Pro Solo courses are always way more simple. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so like if there's any gotchas or any kind of elements like that, if there's multiple on the course and you are prone to quote unquote gotchas, then you're going to perform worse at a tour.
Yep. I don't think you actually did, but I accidentally cheated once at an autocross.
Oh yeah.
And I got away with it too. Back in 2020, I think I was driving a Pro Solo, it was a normal event, a normal tour, I think, with Darian. And instead of running the normal class for the car, we bumped up a class and we ran F prepared. And we ended up running against Dave Montgomery. And we had this big brain idea that because we're up a class, we can like strip the car out. And we took out the passenger seat and a bunch of interior pieces. We took out like 60-ish pounds. And it came out after the event that if you do that, you are also required to have rollover protection installed in the car, which we did not.
Oh.
It was like, you cheated, autocrossers. But, I don't think anybody knew about that. Or if they did, they were generous enough to not protest us.
Yeah, yeah. That's funny. You guys are like, wait, we don't even need all this stuff. You just start taking stuff out of the car.
Right.
So,
and then accidentally make it illegal.
So, Tom, you're setting the same lap time, the whole thing. I haven't watched the broadcast at all. I actually don't know what happened for anything for Gridlife. Yeah. But you seemed bummed afterwards. Do you want to talk about it?
Well, yeah. So the competition wise, I was running the same lap time over and over. a driver in a all-wheel drive BMW M4. His name's Adam Slowinski, best time attack name ever. He was like 0.1 some faster than me in session 1, and then he went faster in session 2 when Dallas was driving. So he settled into like 0.27 or something like that, just under 0.3 faster than me. And I kind of had this feeling after session 1, like if I hadn't led that session, I probably blew it. Like because I don't think we're going to just go randomly faster at some other point in the weekend, and we're kind of just printing the same lap time. So we ended up finishing all the qualifying rounds. It rained for the final one, and I drove the Stingray that Justin Peachy was driving instead of the ZR1, and they approved me to just drive that and DQ my times to try out the other.
Oh, was that
newer,
you? In the orange one?
Yeah, that was me. Yeah.
I saw a clip, dude. I saw a clip of orange C8 out there just like bombing around, and I literally thought like, damn, that dude's driving like Tom. I literally thought that. I didn't know it was you though.
It was
That's
me.
funny, dude.
Yeah, it had the new Vitor they call it X1, but it's got a bunch of letters. It's like the autocross compound, the A7 compound that's supposed to come up faster.
Yeah.
So they were like, why don't you go try it in the wet and see how it is. It was raining pretty hard, so there were some hydroplaning issues. I don't think it was anything that any other tire could have handled better. The grip felt pretty good. The breakaway characteristics were okay. Honestly, the hardest part was that freaking steering wheel in those damn Corvettes. I absolutely freaking hate those square steering wheels.
But you only touch 9 and 3 anyways. What are you doing? Are your hands everywhere? That's not how you drive. I've watched you drive.
Yeah, I'm not, but for some reason, it's something about maybe the way the ratio works in my vision or something.
You know what
it feels like it doesn't react correctly. So when I have car control issues, they seem to be exacerbated by this fucking steering wheel instead of like be able to hold them together.
Why. So normally 9 and 3 is at like the center rotational point of the wheel, but 9 and 3 in the Corvette, like the axis is lower, so it kind of like scoops instead of like a rotational. Does that make sense? So like the axis of rotation is lower than what 9 and 3 is, and normally like the axis of rotation is right in line with where 9 and 3 is on the wheel. So that is weird. I don't think I've necessarily had to go more than 180 degrees on a Corvette steering wheel to like do anything, which to me that like kind of still ends up being the same, because normally if you're going 180 degrees, I like remove a hand off the steering wheel and like
same.
So so it doesn't actually, I don't know. I don't notice that like that much of a different sensation. But yeah, if you had to go more than that, I think it would get a little weird, because the wheel would almost be like modulating where it is depending on how it's spinning in front of you.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I was having a hard time with that, feeling confident in like keeping the car sideways. So I was letting it come back pretty quick instead of like riding it out, which looks stupid on stream because it looks like you quit, but I had a reason. And then I was dumb and I put it in track mode, so the throttle response was like really touchy, and I didn't really think about it until really late. I was already like basically done with the session. I was like, oh, I should have softened the throttle response because I was having a hard time getting the tip in just right.
Yeah.
But anyway, I do think that tire is closer in the wet to like the Bridgestone Yokohama conversation than than a Falcon or a Kumo or whatever.
Like actually close? You think it was better than like a Falcon? Because Falcons aren't particularly good, but
some of those worse ones, they do that thing when they don't have enough heat in them that they just kind of like shudder across the surface.
Yeah,
in the wet.
Yep.
These didn't do that.
Okay, that's good.
So the last session that was supposed to be a morning session was this rained out one. So I finished second for the weekend. We qualify second for the shootout. Sorry, I only qualify second for the shootout. The winner of the shootout is the fastest lap there. And Adam has sticker Goodyear Supercar 3Rs, which are definitely a better tire because they're 100 tread wear. I like that tire a lot. And he has tire warmers, so he doesn't have to worry about getting them up to temperature, which they take forever. So I'm like, I'm literally not going to win this. There's no way.
Yeah.
And he did. He went like 1.5 seconds faster or something, and he would have won. But in the shootout, you only get 3 laps, and if you do a 4 off, you're disqualified. So I do my first lap, and for some reason, I don't know why this was, but the tires came up so slowly. They felt absolutely horrible on the first lap for this session, to the point where like every other time I could like roll the rear tires and do a burnout from like 2 to 3 if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But by the time I got to turn 6 and got out of 6, like the car was hooked up and I was like basically just kind of rolling to the start finish line at that point.
Yeah.
the car was still doing rolling burnouts from like 6 to 7. It was still pushy like crazy in the front. Like it just felt like a different set of tires or something. It was really frustrating.
You know what it was?
But it was because
you were flooring
it was
better.
after all of this rain came through, no sunlight on the track all day. And I assumed that it was just like the tires at ambient temp on a much cooler day just took way longer than every other session. So I almost bailed out of my first lap knowing that the car wasn't up.
Yeah.
But I hadn't like thought through that plan yet and like what I would do about giving people point buys because there's 3 cars behind me and like what would that look like?
You kind of just have to
go. So I kind of just went.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it was my fastest lap. I did get a 1:31.1 instead of a 1:31.3. So I did go faster, but turns 1 and 2, the car was still not underneath me. And in the video that he posted, like turn 1 and 2 was kind of bad. It's like, damn it. So the best lap of the weekend is probably my worst lap from just those 2 corners.
Yeah.
And then everything else was identical. The car was still good for the start of the second lap, but it started to fall off by turns 5 and 6. So I backed it down at turn 7, and I took as cool of a lap as I could back to the start-finish line without holding up the guy behind me to try one more time. And as I come around onto the front straight, I can already see that Adam in the BMW is in the gravel trap way over yonder in turn 3. And I'm like, I don't know what our times were. I went a little faster, but I know that he's disqualified now. So basically, like, unless one of the other 3 cars went faster than me that hadn't gone faster yet.
How close were they to you? Were you aware of that? Like as you were like,
no clue. But watching back, they were 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 each, I think, seconds back. Oh my
goodness. No.
So I do 1, 2, 3. I'm green. I go through the yellow flag cautiously, but still at pace. I'm still green. I don't know if that would have been getting me in trouble or not. I get through turn 7, turn 8. The car is actually still happy. I'm still green through 8 and 9. And as I go through turn 9, I'm accelerating all the way to turn 10. As I go to the brakes, the back steps to the right, about the same as it always had. And then all of a sudden it just snaps loose. And I don't know why it happened. And I catch the car and then I'm drifting to the left and then I straighten up and I ride it off the racetrack forward through a gravel trap and then over a little like 2-foot berm and down into some sort of field full of like corn maybe.
Yeah, corn.
Giant tall thing.
I've been down there before, Tom.
You have?
Yeah. I was there in the GLTC Civic once. It's a long way back up because you can't just drive straight back up. You got to go like sideways along the side of the track, like working diagonally back up the hill.
Yeah. I don't know. I was so with it. I even turned the car back to like drive mode so the driver aids would come back on and like not get stuck. And I'm like trying to like keep an eye on where I just came from so that I can remember. And somehow I found my way back to the track without being able to see because I'm like burying all this stuff.
Yep.
I went off, the stream caught it, but the corner worker didn't, which I'll get to that at the end.
Okay.
But I come back onto the racetrack and I'm like, when something like that happens and then the adrenaline wears off, the reality of like, I just threw it away sinks in and feels so
oh my God, I can only imagine.
Terrible. Oh. And I didn't really think the car would be damaged. Because there were no like hard impacts.
It just felt
soft. It was a couple like a couple bounces, but that like nothing forward, nothing like dug in. And the car feels fine driving back. I guess Dallas had seen the off on the video and started walking back. So I actually pull up behind him in paddock. He hadn't seen that I had gotten out or didn't know what the car was going to be like or whatever. And he turns around and the combo like jump scare and then relief was kind of hysterical in hindsight, but I just felt so bad. And I kind of knew like I probably threw away winning. And obviously, I got DQ'd. I would have won, but I got DQ'd.
Dang.
And he was super gracious, and I'm my own worst enemy, or my own worst critic. So like when shit like that happens.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Damn, Tom.
I got my 15 minutes and then I was okay.
I was going to ask, did you get your 15 minutes where you just kind of like were able to like kind of be by yourself? And I feel like I might need a half hour to be honest. So.
No, it was quick actually. Yeah. For some reason, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm in a little bit of a better mental health space, I think, but I'm not like linking my worth to my performance as much.
Proud of you.
So maybe that's why, but it still feels freaking awful because I was hired to do a job and then I just failed to do the job.
You had the job.
I shot myself in the own foot.
Yeah,
like I had done the job and then I blew it away.
You just needed to stop doing the job. You just needed to stop doing the job because the job was complete. That's like if you were working on like a project, like let's say you're building a deck and you're like, you know what? I just need to put one more railing on this. And it's like, but it already has a railing. And you put the railing on, the whole deck goes, it's like, dang it. The deck was built. I could have just stopped. Yeah.
I built the Lego set and then I dropped it.
Yeah, dang.
Or I baked the cake and then I dropped it.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was okay. And I think honestly, we made the best entertainment of the entire thing. Like our little session for track mod was definitely the most compelling. So by the end, it was like, we put on a good show. I did the lap that I could do. I did throw it away, but it's not the end of the world. Like, whatever. I kind of feel like no one cares about the podium sprint relative to just the overall lap time. And I produced the overall lap time that I could.
Yep.
So it was a much softer blow to the ego than it could have been.
Okay.
And I was really glad the car wasn't damaged. One of the plastic under trays got punctured a little bit, but he said that had happened on his other cars without like doing anything hard either, I guess.
It sounds
so at the very end, what?
That plastic under tray, it sounds replaceable.
Yeah, it's like the cheapest.
Yeah, it's
not even the metal under trays under the middle of the car. It's like the one at the back that protects something else. I don't know.
I did see the video of you just like kind of going through the gravel and then like the weight, like the camera angle. It just looks like you fall off a cliff. Like that's what it looks like. It looks like it.
Yeah.
Like it looks like Wile E. Coyote from like Acne or whatever. Like and he's like woo, and then turn into a poof of like dust at the end or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And then so the video. Oh, Kyle's giving me credit for getting back on the racetrack. He's like, I don't know how he did it. There's like a 20-foot drop over there. So I kept having people ask me like, how did I not fall off the 20-foot drop or something? And I was like, I think the rumors of the 20-foot drop are greatly exaggerated right now. I think I went over a 2-foot drop, and that's probably the drop there was. But I also heard there's a lake over there, and I was like, well, I certainly didn't drive in the lake, and I'm freaking glad of that. Holy shit.
You just got to leave it floored like it's a snowmobile and it's winter.
Yeah, right. But yeah, in hindsight, like doing the analysis, I think I wasn't in a red mist state. I wasn't doing anything borderline that I think I shouldn't have been doing, chasing something I shouldn't have been doing. I did lose attention to detail of something I obviously should have been paying closer attention to. But I don't think that's a pattern for me. I think it's, a circumstance, a small mistake for a car that was really freaking hard to drive. And overall, I think I did a pretty good job this weekend. So,
and then
unless I start throwing cars off the racetrack constantly, I'm not like beating myself up over it.
Then you had an iRacing incident. Come on. That was an iRacing incident. You've barely touched the grass.
Especially the grass is super slippery. It's exactly what it was.
Yep. In iRacing, if you barely touch the grass, you just die. Like if the car's loaded and you touch the grass, the tire doesn't understand that 90% of it is still on pavement. In iRacing, you just get to a certain threshold of tire touching grass, and now you have no grip.
Yep. So at the very end, I kind of I lick my wounds and whatever, and I go up to watch all the final rounds of races. Which I got to watch all the races in person, basically doing one session at 9 a.m. every day and then nothing else.
Yeah.
It was kind of fun to watch everything live. And right at the end, I'm kind of by ASM, and Chris Smith, who ended up winning track mod, congratulations, Chris, came up and he's like, hey, do you know anything about them letting you keep your times? Like, do you know anything about this? Why are they letting you do that? They said they don't have any record of you going off or anything. And I'm like,
you're like, it's literally on the live stream.
And I can tell there's a little bit like he doesn't know if I fought for that yet, or like, do I know about it at all? I hadn't heard a single thing about this. So I immediately obviously go with him to timing and scoring to tell them, make sure I don't win, because I definitely went off.
Yeah.
Everybody saw it. I think I was a little short with the timing and scoring people by accident, because I was like a little stressed that he was thinking I don't know what he was thinking, but
yeah.
I had to make sure that was right. But somehow I slipped through on all those people.
That's crazy. The live stream saw it.
No
the whole crowd saw it. I bet there was gasp everywhere, but timing and scoring did not see it.
Nope.
I wonder what would have happened if you're on the podium being like the freaking like that meme with the kid biting the metal, like you're just like leaned into it. You're like, I won. That would be like villain mode, wouldn't it?
It would literally make poetic sense in Trump's America, I got to be honest, but I couldn't let that happen. Come on, right?
Oh man.
So that was my weekend.
Okay.
I had fun, but it was kind of drawn out. Actually, one of the days I just went over, that brewery that serves good food and has like air conditioning and a patio, Three Blondes?
Yes. Yep.
I went over there and sat there and had a beer from like 5 to 6 the second night because I was tired of being in the sun and I was tired of being at a loud racetrack. I just left and went and chilled and watched 2 YouTube videos and had a beer and then came back to the track right after.
Yeah, nice.
Just to like get away for a split second. So it's kind of a chill weekend.
That does sound like a little bit of a chill weekend, Tom.
Yep. And thank you to Dallas for the chance. Sorry I blew it away and I enjoyed my time.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like put on a good show and you were part of the conversation. And I mean, what else would Dallas want, really? I mean, a win, I guess. But honestly, you know how much Gridlife's going to be sharing the clip of the 2 lead cars like not making it happen, and like that clip's we
can skip that clip, Gridlife. Don't do that.
Gridlife, you know what to do, Gridlife. Look, if it was just Tom, if it was one lap of America, Tom, where he just kind of walks away with it and nobody else had a chance, I don't know how many clicks that gets, Tom. I don't know how many clicks that gets, but the drama gets the clicks.
Right. We made good TV for him, so you're welcome. But also, Dallas even said, like, I wouldn't want to win on a technicality.
Yeah.
I'm not concerned that we didn't win this thing,
Yeah.
in that way, whatever.
Yep. So cool, man.
We did get a frick ton of airtime though, between doing the wet session, being one of the only cars out there. And
really? Nobody went out?
It was me, Andrew Brownfield from the One Lap Toyota team, and one other, Josh Halka went out.
Okay.
And I think someone did an out and in, but I think they noped out. They were like, nope, I'm going back in.
How about
Kyle even said, it's supposed to rain Sunday, time attack. Please just go out and give us something to talk about.
Yeah. Dude, honestly, look, if any time attack people are listening to this, you're never going to get more airtime than if you're out there in the wet. Like, just go out there and drive around and slide around a little bit and like just to have fun with your car. It doesn't need to be productive in any sense, but like if you just want to be a little bit of the hero, especially at Midwest, because there's so many people there. If you just want to be the hero for the crowd, you want to gain some fans, just go out in the wet. What are we doing? Just go out there and drive in the wet.
Or honestly, crash. People love crash videos.
This is tough. Look, guys, only the Lizard Brains podcast is going to give you the real strategies. Just go out there and crash a little bit. Actually, crash a lot of bit. The more dramatic it is, the better. If that car goes flipping and rolling like end over end, at least 1 million views. Think of how you could cash in on that.
Right.
Yep.
I got to ask, side note, my stories are done for the weekend, but I got to ask, what is James Houghton doing to be like the most viral driver in a sense? Do you remember he had the 3-wheeled finish? He had the wheel fall off and he still got the finish. He just had the closest finish by 1,000th with Matan at the end of the weekend.
1,000th of a second?
So he has all these like viral clips from grip driving that are like impossible to get. And somehow he's the most viral person with these moments. It's like he's planning them or something.
He has like an eject button for his right rear tires. Yeah.
He's timing. Matan's like dragging his brakes just a little, 1,000th right there.
Man. In other news, Tom, as you can see from the chat right there, I bought a mountain bike. Remember how I was looking for one?
Yeah.
Well, friend of the podcast, Adam, reached out. Adam has apparently been doing mountain bike stuff for like a very long time. He actually used to work at like a bike shop. So I don't know shit about shit. And Adam basically took me under his wing and found me a bike and somebody that was willing to sell it. And I bought it. And now Adam's going to send it to me. And after he does some like maintenance on it, and I'm going to have a really nice mountain bike. So thank you, Adam.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Adam helped me out with a bunch of hydration ideas a couple years ago. Sent me this really nice hydration powder.
He sent me that stuff too. It was really nice, actually. Yep.
What a guy. Thanks, Adam.
Yeah, thanks, Adam.
He might take over Danny Corliss's MVP title.
Yeah.
MVP listener. Add him to the list.
Yep.
Add him to the list.
Ooh, got him.
Dumb joke. All right. Well, I don't have any other stories from the weekend. Should we do questions or something? Been going for almost an hour, huh?
50 minutes. We can do some questions.
Hope you guys don't mind a big story episode.
No, I think that's what people are tuning in for. All right, you ready? Emails. First question of the day. John Hall asked, going to Watkins?
Oh, me? Maybe. I don't have a reason to go. I don't have a reason not to go. So I just got to justify the cost of going, because no matter if you go, it's still going to be like a $500 weekend.
What Watkins are we talking about here? I don't know what he's talking about.
Gridlife.
Oh, Gridlife. Oh, I didn't even realize they were going to. Dude, I am like I'm sorry to like all the Gridlife people in the like that tune in to the podcast. I am so oblivious on everything Gridlife this year. Last year, yeah, Lugad's got it. I'm in pure autocross mode right now. Like, absolute. I dream of cones, Tom. Like it used to be curbs go burr, and now it's like cones go smoosh. Like I don't even.
Cones go kdunk.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, other than having not much to do this weekend, I wouldn't have known what's going on. When you're doing your own stuff, it's hard to pay attention.
It is hard to pay attention. All right. In typical questions fashion. And look, if we haven't gotten to your question and it has just been buried by other people's questions, just resubmit it. Because I feel like the way this is working right now is we're just grabbing the newest ones and reading down. It's literally the easiest way. So sorry. So if you have a question, literally set a reminder to drop it in our question chat right before we start the podcast, and then we'll definitely answer your question.
Yeah. All right, you ready?
Yeah, let's hear it.
I'm just going to take the bottom one, I guess. So, sort of. So this is from... I had it and I lost it. Oh, Devin. I have a really hard time left foot braking in real life due to pedal position being really uncomfortable in most modern cars, but almost exclusively left foot brake in sim because the brake pedal is centered underneath the steering wheel. How do you adapt real life versus sim, in particular with manual gearbox cars? I do not left foot brake in real life, and I also left foot brake exclusively in the sim, and also in go-karts, obviously, like ergonomically you have to. And I don't really know why, but I don't think left foot braking is required until you're in a car that's traveling so fast or has the ability to apply brakes so fast, like a manual, like GT4 TCR level car, GT3 level car. That you lose time by right foot braking. But I know there are GTP drivers who right foot brake, so I don't think there's really a thing about the foot speed. It's just a matter of if you can do it.
If the car allows it, I'll left foot brake in real life. Never in autocross though. Even if I'm in a harness, I don't think I really left foot brake. Actually, you know what? Remember at the Lizard Brain school, I was having a hard time with where the brake pedal was in relationship to the throttle. I went out and just left foot brake that car the whole way through, because then I didn't have to like figure out where my right foot should go. But that's like a weird circumstance. Like if I drove that car more than once, then my right foot would understand where to go. I wouldn't be fumbling with it.
Yeah, that was an EST. First gen Miata, right?
Yeah, but all like the pedals were like bent weird, so like none of them were like in places where you'd expect them. Just 38 years of Miata and later, like the pedals just end up in different directions. So
yeah, Devin, I think the root of this is that you don't have to. I'm not, so make sure that you know why you're trying to left foot brake.
I do think
if you just want the skill, I don't know. Go ahead, DJ.
I do think that even if you're just left foot braking in the sim and then you go back to real life and you're like, oh no, my right foot's like not used to this or whatever. It's not about like the muscle memory of like the specific foot. Now there is something if you never use your left foot and then you like all of a sudden start trying to brake with it, it's going to be pretty useless. But really what I think transfers from the sim is how you're using the brake to manipulate the weight. And that necessarily isn't muscle memory. That will transfer whether you're using your left foot or your right foot in the sim. Now, I will say in real life, when I'm driving like a ZR1 or, GT3 or something where it's like I have paddles, I typically left foot brake. But it's not because of like foot speed or whatever. It's just like the transition from like the weight shift and stuff like that. It's just like I have so many sim hours that it's just so like well baked in, and it feels like I can actually like pivot the car harder because my foot can instantly like move the weight backwards to like start catching it. So it just maybe there is actually no difference in that, but it's my feeling of I'm ready to manipulate the weight like the moment it needs to be done, and my foot doesn't have to like, there's no dead zone on my foot. So it's like a comfortability thing. From my perspective, I don't necessarily think it's like any faster or anything. For me, I just feel faster, or just I feel more comfortable left foot braking, especially in like the fast cars. I just feel like I just have a little bit more nuanced control of like what happens. But I think that's only because of like the probably over 10,000 hours of sim racing at this point.
Yeah, I do think there's something a little more natural once you start to get into left foot braking, where you're passing the weight from the nose to the tail of the car through, you know, the outside sweep. As you're like, you feel there's a direct correlation between two separate body parts instead of your body part moving from one to the other.
Yep.
But like I said, I don't think it's necessary. I don't do it. I've only the only cars I left foot brake in history were the TCR car, the GT4 cars, the GT3 car, and one Aaron Lichty's Cayman GLTC car had like really wide front wheels on it, and it drove really, really like pointy. And the brakes were super over boosted on the like lower level Porsche stuff. I think the brake calibrations are super, super touchy.
Yeah.
And I did find left foot braking that car to overlap throttle and brake was better. But I found this weekend with the ZR1, I didn't really have that same success.
Yeah.
So very few cars I've found, and very specific, very specific cars. Basically manual brake pedals with paddle shift cars and stuff.
So really at the end of the day, Devin, it's what you're most comfortable with. Now,
way to practice though is on the street.
Yes, absolutely. On the street, you should be able to drive just as smooth with your left foot on the street as you can with your right foot. And then I think it's like you're ready to start doing that on the track. I also think go-karts in general are a really good way to make your left foot not completely useless.
Yeah, the problem with that is every go-kart track you go to is flat out.
Go to a better go-kart
one
track.
break point or something.
Yeah, go to a better go-kart track.
Yeah, I guess you're right. The last thing I was going to say is, if someone's struggling with left foot brake release, I talk to them about like think of it as like releasing the clutch pedal. Like you need to have that fidelity under your left foot, which is already there. You just got to make yourself do it on the brake pedal instead of the clutch.
Yeah. But yeah, comfort, preference. Sometimes I'll left foot brake in an H pattern car if it's like the smallest brush of the brake like ever, and it's consistent lap overlap just because it will be like a planned thing. So I think at like turn 6 mid Ohio in the GLTC car, I would just brush the brake a little bit with the left foot to get it in. But that's only just because that muscle memory is built up. If that wasn't already there, I would have just been like, yeah, whatever. The right foot's like 99% there. It doesn't matter.
Yep. Agreed.
So, okay.
Hope that helps, Devin.
Yep. I'll read the next one from Bill D. Bill writes in, it says, I can't consciously feel changes happening with my car. For instance, upgrading the diff or changing the suspension. When I make a change, sometimes my lap times go down and I know it was a good move, but I really don't notice any differences when I'm on track. How important is it to be consciously aware of the changes happening to the car versus using lap times as a gauge? And if it is important, how do you go about developing this awareness?
What do you think? Kind of know what I think. I think it's way more important to be in tune with what the change is than what the lap time it produces is. Absolutely, for the exact reason of the story I told. Like we changed the drivability 5 times this weekend and never changed the lap time. So then the question becomes, how do you pay attention to it better?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty tough question. But I mean, the simple answer to his question is you don't really pay attention to lap time, because in essence, I think you need to be aware enough to understand what the shortcomings are with the car's behavior, and the ways that you can influence that. And if you've been listening to my CST struggles, you'll understand that maybe it's not cut and dry sometimes. But even if I don't know what the fix is, I would still understand what the shortcomings of the car are, right? So that's when you're like making setup changes, is to try to solve some bad behavior of the car. So you would notice if, you know, the setup change that you made was in the right direction, if that bad behavior gets better or worse, right?
Yeah. I think there's a couple things you can pay attention to that get you there. So you think of these things as like a stepping stone to what you need to pay attention to. I think repeatability is huge. If you are having a hard time as a driver doing something repeatedly, uh, for example, if the car is not producing what you feel it should do, and you're really trying to do the same thing over and over again and it won't do it, that's a big red flag for paying attention to changes, because then you're paying attention to whether the repeatability has changed rather than what the actual effect, and then you'll start to be able to get towards like why, you know, what symptom did I eliminate or what symptom did I make worse. I think assumptions are somewhat healthy here. Like you can assume, for example, if I'm having a super hard time with repeatability, that something is probably wrong.
Yeah.
Or if I can assume
Hold on.
that, go ahead.
Repeatability to what you can normally do, right? Like you need the repeatability as a like if it's harder to if you find it's harder to be as consistent as you normally would be in some previous experience, then you can you might be able to say that. But if it's just like repeatability in general, and you don't have any previous experience of like having that repeatability, then you're really fighting uphill. Like maybe make the car a little bit more simple, and maybe a little less modified so you can tune in that repeatability. Because without that repeatability, man, doing any kind of setup work on your car would be really tough.
True. Yeah, especially when the nuts and bolts have changed. That's a great point. And then I think risk required to drive the car. Maybe this is fresh in my mind, but if the car feels like it takes a bunch of risk to drive, that's another thing you can kind of focus on. But all of this to say, I don't think a single person on the planet can be 100% accurate with feeling changes that they've made without feeling something in contrast to it. So you've got to be willing to, if not A/B test, A/B/A test, A/B/C/A test, like at least the A/B to feel something in contrast to something else. And then I would also say your intention with the changes. If you're just making changes, but you don't know what you're trying to chase, that should always be your first question. I hear people, especially newer people, say, what should I do to my shocks? Or what should I do to my sway bar? It's like, well,
why?
I don't know. Yeah. Why do you want to change it? You know,
yeah.
What are you not happy with? Well, I don't know. I guess I just want to know if it could be better. Okay. Now you got to try two things and feel the contrast.
We have some,
and I think that does take some time. Go ahead.
Yeah, we have some helpful comments in the Discord chat here. So John Hall says, you should have an idea of what those changes will do. Keep an open mind that weird things also happen, but you should be able to know what's coming. So then you can kind of like predict what the change is going to do. And then he includes a little PS, it depends. Raul says, not being able to feel the changes tells me that maybe the car is being underdriven, or the change is too small. So also a thing that I see a lot of people do is they'll like make some changes and it does get better. And they'll be like, heck yeah, like cool, the car drives great now. Well, keep changing in that direction until it drives poorly, because it might drive even greater if you keep changing in that direction, right?
Greater, yeah.
Greater. So, and then Peter says, Peter Schnorr says, take notes on when you make changes, see if you see themes, and that will help you so you don't have to keep it all in your head. Like offloading it.
Great idea.
Yeah. So actually, Tamara gave me this idea to have like a notebook that lives in the car. So me and Peter have been taking notes about like what we're doing, what we were experiencing, what we changed, how it changed it. Right. So it's like a little diary of the car and our experience with it. So it doesn't have to live in our head. And I actually didn't understand how much of like a mental relief it was when I finally got it on paper. And I was like, oh my God, I don't have to remember all that stuff anymore. And it's just, it was just like, it was nice where it's just like, it's all my thoughts and ideas are on this piece of paper. And if I don't feel stressed that I'm going to lose the grasp of like where the car currently sits, it's just here in this notebook.
That's such a good point, and I think most people are probably not very good at it. I know I'm horrible at it. I was lucky I had help with most of my cars. I want to re-clarify what I said. I said assumptions, but I think what I mean more is you need to trust yourself. Even if you don't have the vocabulary to say what you feel, even if you can't explain it, you should try to explain it to people. Like, see if you can find someone that's willing to talk it through with you or let you speak and put words to what you feel. But trust yourself when you feel changes rather than assuming you don't know, because what you're doing is learning what it does. You're not, yes, you didn't know, but now you're learning what it did. And then keeping good track of this, like they're talking with journaling and, set up sheets basically.
And I do think that as far as shock tuning, the book that Tamara Kristinik recommended me, which is called Think Fast, The Racer's Y2 Guide to Winning. I've literally read no other part of the book other than the shock section of the book, but between their explanations of how the weight moves and the different phases of the corners and how this, because of this input, the weight's moving like diagonally and it has like nice little arrows and diagrams and has a table that can help you. I feel like I understand so much more about why a change actually has the behavior and the why is important to try to understand like the overall machine. So if you really want to like take away some of the mystery that is shock adjustments, maybe the 15, 20, whatever dollars that book costs, might be worth it.
Yeah. They're my kryptonite. My brain doesn't work that. So frustrating. All right. How about an oldie but a goodie?
Yeah. Let's hear it.
This is from April. Sorry we missed it, Andy, but he's listening live. We had an all questions episode, and he wanted some thoughts on something I've been struggling with. These are some bullet points. This hobby should be fun because it takes so much effort and so many resources. Turning fast laps is fun, and track days with pals are fun, but it feels like being good or feeling improvements makes it even more fun. Competing and taking competition seriously feels necessary to get good. Competing and taking competing seriously is hell that requires a lot of effort and resources, and I end up back to the first point. This hobby should be fun. So, how do we make this more fun? It's a great question. I'm going to read that there's a thread attached to it with some see if there's anybody extrapolating that. What do you think, DJ?
Yeah, while you look at that, I think everyone gets their fun out of different aspects of the sport. And for me personally, I get my fun out of like the process of improving, of like the continual growth. Like that's where I get my most fun. And then like secondary is like the social aspect of it. And then like all the other stuff. But for me, it's like the process and the personal growth and the learning and all that stuff. To me, that is the most fun part of motorsports. Or maybe like tier 2 would then just be like driving the car. And then tier 3 would be like the social aspects of it. But tier 1 to me is the process. And I realize that like not everyone is like that. But that's cool because motorsports offers so much. Like some people's tier 1 of fun would be like the social aspects of it, or maybe just the driving the car part about it. And then tier 2 is the social. And then, like there's so many different things that people can take away from motorsports. Sometimes it might feel like you should be trying to win to have fun. Sometimes it might feel like that's what it is. But I think you kind of have to take a step back and go, well, what do I get out of this? When am I finding the most amount of joy doing this thing? And lean into that. And the results are kind of secondary. Is winning fun? Yeah, it is. But I think from my perspective, like it's fun because it's part of the feedback loop of the continual improvement. Am I doing a good job? Cool. All right, what I'm doing is working. If I didn't win, it doesn't change what I'm doing, and it doesn't change the enjoyment that I'm getting out of the sport.
Yeah. I think I agree. I was kind of formulating my own thoughts, so I caught most of that. But what I'm coming back to with, like, I'm thinking about what years and what times were the most fun for me. And it always involved a lot of people, which I hadn't really thought about before. Actually, in the thread, there was some conversation about this question, and Spaz said, for what it's worth, my solution to making failing at being competitive more fun has been to add more people to the equation. And I kind of agree with that. I'm thinking back through like my favorite periods of autocross. I felt like I had a really big circle around me. Like I wasn't just driving my own car and going to the events by myself and paddocking with one person or something. Like I was doing the whole region paddocks worth of people, and I was co-driving cars that were driven by 4 people per event. And like that was always super fun to have that many people around. Similar with pro racing, when I got into that, I had this built-in network of people who were like there with me to help with the car, and my family would come sometimes.
But then everyone
like
cheering you on and stuff like that. Yeah,
there's exactly a team of people like built naturally into that. Versus like club racing, the first year I did it, it was pretty fun, but it was like me and my parents mostly, so there were like way fewer people involved, which I think there's something to that. So I think maybe part of it could be, I do think a lot of people probably go to the racetrack, they know who they're going to paddock with, and they're going to see people around, but you are doing your own thing independently all day. And then you might get some social time. I don't know, you add more into that other than to, I don't know, what at a normal track day. I mean, ASM was great. That was super fun because we had this whole thing built in with 15 cars around the paddock and all the people that came with that. It wasn't like one person paddock together working on their own car. So maybe you can look at that aspect of it.
I think like,
and I do agree that winning isn't what's fun. Doing your best is what's fun. And if you do your best that leads you to winning, then that feels really good. But winning can go south or sideways really fast. Like you can either end up feeling like you're on an island by yourself. You can end up feeling like it, if it's, I think it's easy to have winning feel bad. Easier than it should be, maybe.
Yeah,
I think you know what I'm trying to say.
Here's an example. If winning was like the thing that I considered to be like the fun part, right now in the WDCR iRacing League, I literally have even the commentators rooting against me during the race because they just don't want to see me win, right? But that doesn't affect me because I'm in the process. I'm just trying to like put together the best race that I can. And I feel good if I put together the best race. And nobody's going to take away like how I feel about the process of trying to put together my best race and improve and learn from it and all this other stuff. And if somebody's going like, man, we're really sick of DJ winning in this iRacing League, that doesn't affect like where I actually get enjoyment out of the thing. I think it's easy to get distracted and get enjoyment from like seeing the results and the thing, but I don't think that's long term, and it's definitely not sustainable. Look at even the top drivers on autocrossrank.com, they have like a 50% win rate, except Tom. But like everyone else has like a 50% win rate. So that means at least half of the time they lose. You telling me half of the time the people who are most dedicated to the sport are not having fun? Nah, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. The very, very best have fallen in love with the process of improving and getting better, or they're just in mental turmoil and they're actually not having fun and they're just doing it because they feel like they're stuck doing it. Yeah. And I'd rather not feel like that.
He asked the secondary question was, is it lame to not compete? I feel a lot of self-worth in being competitive, even if it's not fun, which I relate to it. I get what he's saying there. Ross said it depends on whether you need the validation to feel fulfilled. If you don't feel the need to be tested or proven to feel fulfilled, then not competing is not lame. And Thomas said, if you've given it a fair try, and it's not for you, people understand, but also nobody really cares what you do or don't do. So the point, like outside perspective, what people think doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Well, hold Danny on. Shared that I had a hard time having fun in my wheel-to-wheel rookie season last year, which is why I'm focusing on autocross this year. I'm not excited to be racing anymore, but I can't quite bring myself to give it up on that dream. I have no idea what I'll do. Sorry, go ahead. Cut you off there.
Yeah, Ross said, like competition, like if getting tested sounds like fun, then like that's a good avenue of competition. And I kind of feel like that's like, especially a national event, that's what that is. That's a test. Okay, these things that you've been working on, these things that you've been trying to polish and smooth out, like, okay, let's take the test. Where do we sit? Okay, cool. That's good feedback. Let's keep like, let's keep doing the things we've been doing, or like, let's switch it up or whatever. And like, yeah, I think long term, I don't think you can be focused on results. It's too fleeting. It's too, it's just not consistent enough for the amount of enjoyment that's needed for how hard this sport / hobby is.
Yep. Any other ideas on how to make it more fun? I hope that was at least a helpful conversation to give you some stuff to think about.
Yeah.
I felt very similar to this after we practiced one lap, where it was, we did 3 days back to back of private track rentals with very few people. We drove very few laps, but they were super fun and productive. And there were competitions in the conversation, right? Like you're comparing lap times or pushing yourself or each other if you're sharing your car that day. But at the end of it, we all were like, this is way more fun than like for example, we didn't say this because of Gridlife. We're saying like then a Gridlife weekend. Those are so much work and they're, it's chaos and all this, but we just rented these tracks for a similar cost for a week and we had a nice chill time. This was lovely.
Yeah. But you know what? If you're doing that all the time,
exactly. You flip it around. Yeah. I guarantee you it's the same thing on the other side.
The same thing. So hold on, maybe like the cap off this question answering is variety is the spice of life. Like switch it up.
Yeah.
Don't do only cutthroat competitive events. Throw in some fun ones. Throw in like where you like co-drive an F mod or something at an autocross, or like you go to an HPDE and you drive something that you normally wouldn't drive, or just something. Just mix it up. Like take the daily driver to like an autocross or to a track day. Like put brake pads on it. But like, just switch it up. Just go do stuff that you normally wouldn't do because like it's still motorsports adjacent, but it's just a little different than it normally would be.
Okay, listening back right now in your car, skip back 45 seconds and tell me that wasn't the most Italian DJ's ever sounded answering that question.
Oh my God.
There was a little moment in there. You turned Italian for a second, bud.
Mix it up.
Yeah. No, you're completely right. I completely agree. Yeah, the old palate cleanser.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty fun. Man, I might be kind of.
I do think people, when they plan their seasons, they put all the competition events on it. They pack their ability to do everything on those. Maybe not. Maybe autocrossers aren't as bad about this because every event's a competition. But I do think road course people for sure could be better at planning non-competition events into their years once they get rolling.
Some of my favorite motorsports years is where I was doing like a bunch of road racing, but then on the off weekends where the car was not broken, where I didn't have to spend the weekend like fixing it or driving somewhere to get somebody else to fix it, hitting up like an autocross like during a road race season. Oh man, that was like, those were good palate cleansers because like you get to drive a car in a way that you kind of normally don't get to drive, and like the activeness and it's just like, yeah, that's just that is a good palate cleanser. And if you do mostly autocross stuff, then find like a track night in America near you, or like just switch it up. Go do rental carts. Yeah. I'll tell you what, when me and Christine went to rental carts, when I jumped in for that one race, even though the track is kind of a little uninspired and the carts are kind of like meh, I was like, all right, I'm kind of having fun. I'm kind of having fun sliding this stupid cart around. Yeah, Christine says lunch rental carts. Dang, Christine, we going for lunch tomorrow? Tell me yes or no.
Ooh, there you go. I just saw the track that I used to work at. They're doing 4-hour windows of karting.
Like open track?
I didn't look at what it's cost. I should have looked at that. Like, yeah, it sounds like you just get to do races for 4 hours every time you can get in. It's good value. You want to come down to Cincinnati? We'll go hit the place up.
Yeah, I'm down. You pick the day. I'll work remote nearby, probably at your house because that seems the best. And then we'll go. You just pick the day. I'll just drive out there.
It'll be fun. I'll look more into it. Maybe it's like $400 to do that, and it's crazy. I don't know.
That might be crazy.
That would be a little rough.
If it's like $200 for 4 hours, I might think about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to say on that note, we're beating the dead horse at this point, but on the note of adding people, I just lost my thought. Are you kidding me?
It normally comes back if we just
instigate with your friends. Like find the event you want to go to, and then like tell everyone to come with you. Like make sure they know when it is. Give them a lead time for it. Like if you tell a bunch of people that you want to go to this event You put it on their radars.
Oh,
20 to 30% of them will go, and you'll end up with a crowd built in.
This is like what was this time trial nationals? Time trial nationals 2021 or 2022, where I just I got everyone's doing S6. Come on, Tom, you're gonna drive an FRS. Come on, Matt Waldbaum. Like, come on, Peter. Like, I just getting everyone. S6 was like the biggest class that's ever been at time trial nationals. And
you're super good at this.
That made it so much more fun. Yep.
I would Andy Smedegaard is kind of sneaky good at this. I don't think he means to be, but people follow him to events, so he's got the people built in a way. Aaron Lichty is good at this, instigating a group of people to go to the race. Like, be that person that instigates going to events. Yeah. And then you'll get more people around, and then you'll have more fun.
Every friend group needs somebody that instigates the fun. Yeah, they need somebody that instigates the fun. Yeah. And you know what? Being an instigator of fun, I will tell you, it's a lot of fun. You're always having fun. If you're the one instigating the fun, you're probably having more fun than everyone else.
Yeah. Anthony said, having seen the track night crew come in during the national tour, I can confirm those guys are having way more fun. So yeah, there's something healthy to not competing, but there's also something beautiful in competing.
Yep. Cool.
DJ, what are you doing this weekend?
Tom, I am hiking with my wife. And we're gonna.
How high? How far do you think you're gonna hike? Let's put a number on it.
I think
Price is Right style. You can't go over.
Well, so I think that like over the course of the week, because we're driving there on Wednesday, and then our last day is on Monday. So I don't know, probably like 20 miles. But we have one hike specifically. Christine said 30 miles. Okay, Christine will do 30 miles. I will play Game Boy for 10 of those miles while she hikes. Old Rag has been on our radar. It's on Christine's goal page on the Discord. And we really, really, really want to get that hike done. But it is supposed to be extremely difficult. There's like rock scrambles and like walls to climb. And it's like the elevation's kind of nuts. And like the elevation climb, not the elevation itself. So it's going to be pretty tough. We're going to have to like kind of take our time, and hopefully like we feel good, and like our bodies are just cooperating that day, and we're able to like complete it, and hopefully the weather cooperates. But that's what I'm hoping that I do this weekend, Tom, is I'm hoping that me and Christine get to the top of Old Rag, and then we also get safely back down, and I get to talk about it next week on the podcast.
Maybe that's where the pull-ups come in. Yeah. Sounds like you're going to need them after all.
Yeah. What about you, Tom? What are you doing?
Wait, hang on. Where is this place? I don't think you said.
Oh, this is at Shenandoah National Park. It's like Virginia.
West Virginia?
Yeah. Maybe Shenandoah goes into West Virginia and Virginia.
Cool. All right. Have fun. I'm commentating the Hoosier Super Tour from Watkins Glen this weekend. The racing's at Watkins Glen. I'm going to be in my bedroom right here. But we have qualifying Friday, and then racing Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
So, again, hop in the YouTube chat. I think we have really good racing. I know turning on the YouTube stream and seeing the cameras don't move can be a turnoff for people. But I genuinely think if you like watching racing, give it a shot if you haven't yet. The camera coverage does hit everywhere. They just don't move. We've had some like meta conversations about like what's worse, bad cameras that move or really good cameras that don't move. And I'm kind of a believer in like the camera doesn't need to move as long as you cover everything and then the commentary is good.
Yeah.
I think there are some really good races.
I was talking to people this weekend at the Toledo Pro, like, why don't we have cameras like pointing at this stuff? Like, I feel like I could set it. You give me a $300 budget, and that's really.
Dude, I want to pitch. I want to pitch a contract to them. Like, give me 10 grand to play with next year, including paying myself, and I will make a live stream that blows everyone's mind for Solo Nationals.
I think we could.
Or a tour, or whatever.
What we really need is a camera that can do wireless transmission that has good battery life that we can put on the last slalom cone. That's what we really need, because that would be a great camera view, would it not?
I have so many good ideas for this. I think good commentary, good graphics package with decent camera coverage is all you need. I think cameras that are way too close to the course, like a person would never be there, would make it look really epic. You cover it like F1 qualifying. Raul said, I'm going to give $9,000 to Kyle and pocket 1K of it. You're not far wrong. I mean, the one that does Driver's Eye Live, that does WRL and SCCA and all this is who I work for when I do that. It's just iPhones, and it's connected to a network that the producer then gets control of what camera is doing what at every time. And
yeah, they have like the feed of all the cameras, and then they just pick which feed shows up on the main screen. And I think, like, especially at like a tour, like Solo Nationals might be a little tough because you need like 2 setups. But at just
no, here's what you do to test it, to make it work for the first time. You put all of the best classes in the same course on the same day. And what I say by best, the ones that are going to put on the best show, cover every type of autocross car, maybe the best prepared class, the best street class, the best X class, the best cam class,
Dude,
and then you just run a heat of bangers all day on one course, and then you move everything over and you run the bangers again. And sorry if you're not in one of those classes, but we'll get to you eventually, because I think putting on a really good show doing that would be really, really cool.
I'm already envisioning how this would work. You would make the software so simple to like select the camera that shows up in the feed that it's literally just somebody's job assignment. And they would sit right next to the commentator in the announce vehicle, and they would just be picking like the cameras.
Right. I don't know if I would leave that to a stranger, but I would also fire some commentators if it was going to go out. But then we're getting into the weeds here.
But I think this is like definitely doable, and I don't think it's that expensive. And I think the membership would totally be on board with it. I was talking even just like freaking 2 webcams pointing at like the left course and the right course. Cause like anybody following along online, cause like a lot of conversations that I had this week were people talking about them following national autocross events when they couldn't get there. Like they're just refreshing a page. Like what if we gave them something to like look at and like listen to? Like, cause people are already following along, like all these giant dorks out there, and trust me, I'm one of them. Like we're already following along. Yeah. So Scott Ulrich says I was listening to Toledo and Crows. Like people are already following along because they're so invested in this thing. Let's just put a little bit more into it to like just make it a little bit more like watchworthy.
Yep. Maybe what if we do your strategy from sim racing? You just hired your own broadcaster to broadcast your race. What if we do this? Lizard Brains stream. DJ and I are going to fundraise and pay for the stream, and it's just going to be us streaming the event that we happen to be at, which happens to be Solo Nationals.
Shit, these are some good. Well, we would have to get some backup like commentators while we're competing.
I would skip driving for that.
You would skip driving?
I would skip driving.
I wouldn't skip driving.
Yeah, I believe in it. I want to put on a good show.
Yeah. So that a little backstory of me hiring my own commentary team. Back in the day, Gridlife. It was like unofficial Gridlife, like league, iRacing league. And then WDCR had a league, and WDCR had this new commentator called, his name was Kyle Heyer, and he did a great job. And I'm like, I brought up to the people running at the time, the Gridlife league, hey, we should have a commentary. And they didn't want to do it. So I was like, screw it. I'm just going to hire the commentator. So I hired Kyle to announce these races, these Gridlife races, because I was just beating up on everyone. I'm like, somebody's got to see this shit. And so I hired Kyle to be the commentary, and he commentated, and everyone thought it was cool. And that's how I became part of like the admin team for like the like unofficial and then eventually official Gridlife iRacing League. And yeah, that's the story on that. Yep.
That's so funny. I love that story.
Just hired my own. Dude, honestly though, we should just hire our own commentary team for autocross, and then it would absolutely become a thing.
I think so. Absolutely. It would definitely not be, they wouldn't like that.
No.
It would be like,
what if we just did it? Like within the rules. Like we couldn't have cameras out on course and stuff like that because like that's outside of the rules. But like if we just put on our own video broadcast, however we could within the current rule set, people would tune in. People would, and have an archive of it. So the people competing currently can go back and watch how it all unfolded from like a different perspective.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Much to consider. Check this space.
Yep. All right.
One of our many great ideas that's often go very slowly. Well, enjoy your hike this weekend. Be safe.
I
Don't
will.
hurt yourself. Hopefully you don't encounter any bears. Remember, just because they're friends shaped doesn't mean they're friends.
I was about to buy bear spray for Shenandoah, and then I Googled it, and apparently, since history's been made, unless the AI was hallucinating that answered on Google, there have been 0 deaths from bears in Shenandoah. So I didn't feel like I needed to buy bear spray for this particular
Don't be
occasion.
the first. Yeah.
Don't be the first. Nope, I won't be the first. Actually, I can run faster than Christine, so I won't be the first. So,
Damn.
dark humor. Sorry. All right, let's end the show. You ready, Tom?
Yep.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for enjoying, or hopefully you enjoyed some random stories and questions. But remember, we're still just doing this for fun. I love your hair, and I hope you win.